the return of Ask Spilo. In my Discord, there's a channel titled Ask Spilo where people put their Overwatch related and non-Overwatch related questions, and then I go over them live on stream. Now, I'm going to be including the entire clip of Ask Spilo going over many questions related to Overwatch and unrelated on this YouTube video. Now, I'm not sure if this series is going to be making a return. However, if you are interested in getting your very in-depth, detailed Overwatch or non-Overwatch related questions answered, jump in my Discord, throw them in there. I go over them live on stream, and if you're not able to catch it live on stream, I always put the Twitch timestamp afterwards in the channel so you can go back and watch your question get answered, or you can maybe wait for it to be posted on YouTube. Hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions of your own, don't put them in the YouTube comment section. Just join my Discord. Spilo out. Ask Spilo, why do you feel Brig is in a bad spot? Is the range kind of like the BAP issue, like a lack of utility? Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point here. So it's like you look at the strong supports right now. Okay, you got a Kiriko, you got Lucio, you got Mercy, and then the supports that maybe aren't very strong but are still very good, like Xinyan and Ana. I think Ana is actually strong, but let's just kind of categorize. And you have heroes with a lot of mobility, and you have heroes with a lot of range. Brig is really neither. Brig does have some range with her armor packs and some mobility with a new shield bash, but she's not particularly strong enough in either, nor is she like... So the way to buff Brig would be either to make her more mobile, to make her better at range, and by range I mean not necessarily doing damage range, but assisting and supporting range, or a little bit of both, right? You know, you don't have to have a hero that has one very strong signature, but at the very least, like an Orisa or a Ramattra, they need to have the combined strength is good enough, right? Oh my goodness gracious, thank you for the gifted subs. Oh, I coached your Moira a little bit. That's right, Neo. I forgot about that on Ilios. Swirly Mom, the Corpu, Misfile Ash, Aliens Wear Sunglasses, Rymol. Thank you so much for the subs, mate. I really appreciate that. Congratulations, guys. Do I have any feedback for the team that didn't pay you after your video? The O1 esports thing? No, I'm no update. I have a feeling that O1 esports has completely abandoned Overwatch entirely. I think they made their cash after the recent Saudi tournament, and I don't think they'll be back in contenders or O1. I think they're just gonna be gone. They're just thieves, scum of the earth. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm not super concerned about it. I figured that was going to be the case. My main purpose is I was hoping that if I spoke out about it, more players would do it with other orgs in the future, and or other orgs would be spooked because they know that at least somebody's on the player side. Guys, it was $90. Like, I could use $90, but it's $90. It's not $1,000, right? But I know there are players who have been missing thousands of dollars from O1 esports, and that is just wrong. That is evil. And I feel really poorly for those players. And I know there was a few players that were in tough financial straits that really could have used that money. And that really ticks me off. And if nobody was going to say anything because they were too scared or was too awkward, don't want to get blacklisted, then I'm going to take one for the team. And if you guys ever hear about that stuff happening with anybody else, please reach out to me. I will be the loudmouth that raises a big stink because I'm sick of this stuff. We're screwing over people that don't know how to handle these situations. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's not about my money. I spoke up, but there was a lot of people that were messaging behind the scenes that were thanking me that, like, oh my gosh, they've been stolen so much money from me. Thank you for actually saying something. You know, it's ridiculous. Okay. Levi, can you put that question in Ask Spilo so I don't forget, because I'm trying to do this chronologically. So !Discord and just put it in here and I'll get to it in a second. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I just wanted, like, just other people that just haven't, like, stuff happens all the time, mate. I'm so tired. Okay. Anyway, lack of range, lack of mobility. Overall design, I'm not really sure. I think like the overall design is the lack of range, lack of mobility, but I don't know. Brig is there's a lot of heroes in Overwatch that I can objectively point my finger and be like, that doesn't age particularly well, but I don't really know exactly what. Now, I will say Brig isn't, like, fundamentally, in my opinion, flawed like a Junkrat, for example, where a spam hero is just not something that's good in design-wise, right? I don't like that design very much. I think Brig, especially right now, has an like anti-dive, a little bit of mobility. I think it's an okay enough design. It's not this typical four-head brawl hero that it used to be, but I don't have any really big brain suggestions, to be honest with you. Okay, what would you replace BAP regen burst with? Great question. I don't know. I don't know. It could be like if Ramatra's not going to get his damage reduction ability, maybe BAP gets that as well, where it's like a small HOT, but it reduces incoming damage by like 20%. That would be a really interesting brawl or defensive cooldown. A lot of these things could be really, really broken if actually used properly. So I'm not really sure, but some sort of like defensive utility or offensive utility. Maybe BAP shift could be, it increases his heal fire rate and his damage fire rate by 50% for 5 seconds. So it allows you to heal and damage more with like a 33% uptime. So you have to be selective about when you need it for defensive purposes. You kind of see what I'm saying? So like maybe you pop your BAP shift and for 5 seconds you can heal a lot faster and shoot a lot faster. So you can use it offensively or you can use it defensively. And that would give him a lot more flexibility. I think that would be something that would be fun to use and definitely require a lot of thought into putting into use properly. But something along those lines where there has to be a little bit of utility. Okay, where would you prefer Ryan to fall in the meta rankings when we talk about your idea of it? I think Ryan should be stronger. Like everyone talks about, like everyone wants the perfect balance where I think it's reasonable to say that we would like to have balance to where the heroes are really good on the maps that make sense. Ryan is good on a control center. I want to play in a world where Ryan is picked on control center most of the time because there's no high ground on that map and it's a relatively narrow map. So the best short range brawl hero should be the best tank on that map, and he's not. So I think that would be the optimal balance. Are we going to always get there? No, but that should be where Ryan should be the best tank, period? No. But I think a meta where Ryan is good on short, low range, non-high ground maps, maybe even like a King's Row first and second point, Ryan being good on that map is probably the meta that we want to. That's what we want to aim for. I think there's a chance he'll be viable. I think the problem with Reinhardt is it's a bit of like Brig's problem, where the hero is weak, but also people are stupid. I don't think people have adjusted. Like okay, that's rude. People have not adjusted well to the new playstyles of the hero. Like people were complaining about Reinhardt in Overwatch 1 as well, and Cloudy was just busy farming people in 4.6k lobbies. You know what I'm saying? Because people still played Reinhardt like a shield bot, standing on main, swinging on the enemy tank. They were not clearing high ground. They were not clearing off angles. They were not doing any of the things that other tanks have to do. They were just forehead turning off range, swinging on the enemy tank. And that playstyle is shockingly exactly what you need to do in Overwatch 2. I talked about it over and over again. People thought I was crazy, and yet that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing in Overwatch 1, and it's exactly what you're supposed to be doing in Overwatch 2, and people just still aren't doing it. So people are going to struggle with Ryan because you don't play Ryan like you did in early Overwatch 1. And here's the hot take, guys. It's not a hot take. Actually, it's just the truth. You were never supposed to play Reinhardt that way, but you got away with it because this hero was strong enough. Reinhardt has always been the best hero at clearing up heroes in close range sightlines. So if you want to play Ryan to dive or Ryan to sniper comps, you cannot just sit there. You have to go clear. You have to go aggressively clear space. And most people have just never learned how to do that. Brig was an excellent brawl hero on release, but she still was very, very good at anti-dive, and she still had to play her life. A lot of Brigs got to higher ranks by just holding down mouse 1. And then all of a sudden, nobody knows how to play Brig anymore. Guys, how many lobbies have you seen where people play Brig like a frontliner? In Overwatch 1 and in Overwatch 2. I'll be honest with me. How many times do you guys see that where you have a Brig that's playing more aggressively frontline with a tank? Happens all the time. All the time. Low ranks, mid ranks, even high ranks. All the time we have Brigs that play too aggressively. They don't understand that that's just not what the hero is supposed to do. And so there's a reason why you have one tricks that can do well with Brig and that can do well with Ryan, but other people don't, because the one tricks actually understand what the hero is supposed to do now. And nobody else can figure it out. I mean, we still have people that think Shield Bash should be is a CC anymore. Shield Bash is an escape cooldown, guys. It's an escape cooldown that's sometimes used for offensive combos. It's an escape cooldown, guys. It's an escape cooldown, guys. It's an escape cooldown. It's unbelievable. Like this is why the hero is perceived as weak. The hero is definitely not strong. But Shield Bash is an escape cooldown. What are your top 5 favorite maps? What makes you like or dislike a map regardless of which area you're playing? I don't know. Let's see if we can, I don't know what the common theme is with the maps that I dislike. Let's go through them. So this is, I do think if we remove 2CP, a lot of the maps are, it's more subjective. So I don't think there's like any like one clear answer. So I will put Circuit as a definite maybe as terms of my least favorite. And why I don't like Circuit is that it's very one-dimensional. Not very many flanks, very oppressively long sightlines. So it's like they didn't have a sniper map with Havana guns, so they really like cranked it to 100, and I don't like that. It's not just that sniper maps, it's the fact that a lot of sniper maps don't allow other counterplay. I think Dorado's okay. I am no Havana, okay. No, I will put Numbani on there. Even though it's not technically in the map pool, but because that person didn't say no Numbani, so I'm gonna put it on there. I think Numbani is, again, the cranked opposite, where it feels impossible to play anything other than highly mobile heroes in that map. First point Numbani is brutal. Third point Numbani is brutal to cap. It's not, I don't hate the map, I just do not like it that much. I don't know. I'd have a hard time putting any other maps on these tiers. I think Eichenwald's second is really rough. But none of these do I actually feel when I queue in, besides like Circuit Royale or Numbani. I think I'm going to stop there. I think Hollywood second's tough. Dorado's second's really tough. Eichenwald's second's really tough. But I think even Power ISO has its really rough moments as well. I don't know. I don't hate a lot of maps, to be honest with you guys. I'm mostly okay with a lot of the maps. Rialto second is also tough. Yep. Taking Rialto second, especially into a good Widowmaker, is rough. Okay. Top 5 favorite maps though. I like Lijiang. King's Row is fine. King's Row is always a safe pick. You know, we've got no real problems with King's Row. Those are really the two ones that I enjoy the most. But Push. Yeah, push depends. Like, I don't mind Push that much. I don't know if I have a favorite Push. I think New Queen Street might be my least. I don't know. I don't really know. I feel like New Queen Street or Coliseum are probably the worst designed of the push maps. But I personally don't dislike them as much. So I see the problems with those two push maps in particular, but I don't dislike them as much. I'm trying to be like subjective here, like really give my opinion of fun, not necessarily balanced. Colosseo is definitely hated, and it's deserved though. So I won't. If we said objectively bad maps, then I think you'd have Circuit Royale would definitely be in there. Colosseo would be in there. Probably New Queen Street to an extent. Numbani would be in there. From an objective stand, Rialto is very unbalanced as well to play, but I don't necessarily hate them. Yeah, Colosseo is, I told you guys see my YouTube short on Colosseo? One fix, just remove the glass, and we don't have those 2-minute stalemates. I want to know when to focus the Mercy, when not to focus the Mercy as Winston. Okay, it's as simple as like, can I actually do damage to the Mercy and kill the Mercy? If not, don't put as much attention on her. You can force her GA, but if you can reach the Mercy, do damage to the Mercy. If you cannot reach the Mercy, do not do it. Generally, we don't jump a Mercy because she's going to fly away instantly. It's better to jump who the Mercy might pocket, and if the Mercy flies to help the target, you can then zap the target. When building a hero pool, is Sojourn in the same category as Widowmaker or Ashe? No, I would say no. I think her mobility is something that provides opportunities. So I would say, like, I like Tracer, Sojourn, Widow better than Tracer, Soldier, Sojourn. Because I don't think Soldier has like that anti-dive mobile strength as much as Sojourn does. And I don't think Sojourn has the hardcore range played on Circuit Royale and destroy the enemy team on Junkertown like Sojourn does. I think it's tough to say, but I guess that's why you're asking. So that's my opinion anyway. I'm going to be hosting trials for my Unity team pretty soon, pretty set and starting 5. What's the best format for the trials? Should I be asking to play the specific or meta comps or just let them play whatever the hell? I would say a little bit of both. I would say mostly try and mix it up a little bit, but I wouldn't go crazy with it. Like what I would do is I would say there's a couple of comps that we want you to play, maybe 2 or 3 comps that we want to see you play. Different tanks, different DPS, maybe some dive, maybe some brawl, maybe some spam, okay? And then after that, what I would do is then open the floor and see if you can get them to not play meta. So just try and find out like what are their comfort heroes, what are their best heroes, you know? If you have like somebody who's got like a crazy Zarya, you know what I'm saying? Or like maybe that's something you could talk about the trials. Like, hey guys, like we're gonna open up the last 2 maps for whatever you want, but I want you guys to try and lean into like what heroes you guys are like really good at. Or like, do you have any like pocket picks? Do you have any like special heroes that you want to show off? I think there's a lot of success to do with that, because even on like Owl, right, like look at like a Hottie, right, the guy's cracked at Reinhardt, so if you only put him on Winston or meta heroes, you would miss that and we would lose a lot of games this season, right? So Backbone on Mei, same kind of thing, you know, so definitely you want to try and lean into your strengths. So give some structure with what they play, and then try and give them a little bit of freedom as well. Should I learn callouts for game plus conversational Korean to be a better pickup for an Owl team? I wouldn't necessarily learn callouts. I just practice my skill set as a communicator and as just a raw player. Conversational Korean, no, definitely not. I think conversational Korean would be something that you would do after the fact, when you've already learned, like if you picked up with the Korean team, you know, take a couple weeks to work with somebody, maybe find a tutor or something like that, and you could probably pick it up fast enough. But it's hard to like learn a language when you're not like immersed in the environment. It would almost be better for you to be picked up on an Overwatch League team with Koreans, and then kind of learn the Korean as you're playing with Koreans who can kind of give you feedback, and or you can kind of like be immersed in their culture, whether it's talking with them constantly, than it is to try and learn it ahead of time. I don't think it would be the most efficient use of your time. Get good at the game, communicationally and mechanically, and then save the conversational Korean and maybe the call out specifically for a later time. And you know, you're never gonna get signed to an Owl team because you knew that one spot on Nepal, like what that one building is called. You know what I'm saying? Out of each role, which hero would you say is the worst in each role? Good question. Good question. Overwatch heroes, probably Doomfist. I think Sombra is, from what we know of stats, is probably objectively pretty bad. Doomfist, Sombra, Moira, I think, or Brig. Doofus, Sombra, probably Brig. I think Moira is still doing okay in ranked, but neither Moira or Brig are particularly good in a non-ranked environment. How does Widowmaker playstyle different coordinated versus ranked? I mean, the Infrasight usage is exactly the same. Don't waste it. You know what I'm saying? The communication with the Infrasight is probably a little bit better, but I mean, the way ranked Widowmakers use Infrasight is just objectively bad, even for ranked. The Widowmaker's playstyle differs mostly in terms of communicating the angles that you're holding, and then trying to scout the enemy Widow so that you give your Widowmaker an advantage. It's not a whole lot more than that. It's still trying to win the duel, avoid the dive, trying to protect your Widowmaker in some circumstances, stuff like that. What separates the best Widowmaker players in the world from each other? Raw mechanics, and also just being really, really, really good at duels. Being really smart, like when to peek, when not to peek, different hiding spots, how to mix it up, how to catch the enemy Widow off guard. Like that was something that Ons was always really, really good at. It was like he was really good in Widow duels. Like his mechanics are crazy, but he also almost always had like the peeker's advantage, because his positioning switch up, like he was really unpredictable, which made him really, really hard to beat in a duel, because he really didn't know where he was a lot of the time. As a person who sees the value in personal development, what advice do you have for making and achieving goals to improve general wellness and life cycle? I'm sorry if this is... I would say like the new thing I've been on, not the new thing, but the thing I think I really recommend is being like the whole atomic habit idea, where it's like you don't put like unrealistic expectations on yourself. Instead, you're like, what are like some small adjustments that I know I can stick with in my personal development, with the way I like my sleep, my exercise, my health, whatever, and then stick with those, and then build those until they're habits, and then build from there. Like small habits implemented and executed every 3-4 months over the course of a couple of years, it's going to have a big impact. And I think when people try and improve their quality of life, they tend to take a too big of a bite and set unrealistic expectations too quickly. Then they don't stick with them, and then they just rinse and repeat, trying to achieve the unachievable over and over and over again. I think small, sustainable, stickable practices are the best way to do things in Overwatch and in real life. What's the best workshop for warming up as Tracer? Tryhard. There's just no, I don't know the best warm up for Tracer. I don't like Vaxa for Tracer because you have infinite blinks, and I think that's a bad habit to get into. So I think probably Tryhard FFA in terms of workshop. I'm not too sure. Have you ever considered piercing ears? You look fly. I have not. Thank you though. Best hero ability ult name. Best hero name, ability name, ult name. Wow, this is going to be hard. I'll try and do this one as quickly as I can because it would take forever. Best hero name. I really like the name Baptiste. I really think it flows off the tongue. Brigitte is pretty decent, but obviously Bash and Ash. Ana is fun too. I like the name Ana. I like the fact that it's pronounced Ana as well. Ramatra flows nicely. Zenyatta flows lightly. Reinhardt is obviously a classic. Sojourn is actually a pretty cool name as well. I kind of like Sojourn, Baptiste, Ana, maybe? The rat. Best ability name. Sleep Dart, Bionade, Dynamite, Coach Gun, Regenerative Burst, Whip Shot, Shield Bash, Magnetic Grenade, Combat Roll, Boosters, Micro Missiles, Defense Matrix. Defense Matrix is a pretty cool name. If you think about it, Defense Matrix, it's kind of cool. You're like, wait a second. Oh, it's kind of cool. Focusing. Probably, honestly, probably something like this. Like Carnage is just really cool, right? Yeah. I literally just, as I'm saying that, yeah, Carnage, yeah. Biotic Orb is pretty cool as well. I don't remember what Ramatra's abilities first. Nemesis form is pretty cool. Wraith form is neat. Accretion is actually really cool too. Accretion, maybe Carnage, Accretion. Orb of Discord is also really cool, I think. Probably one of those. And then in terms of ultimate, Nano Boost, nah. Bob, no. Window, I don't remember all of these, to be honest with you guys. High Noon is neat. It's kind of funny. It's kind of a meme, but it's funny. Dragon Blade is awesome. Rampage is cool. Coalescence is pretty cool too. How's Bob not cool? Pile Driver, yeah, Pile Driver is cool. Death Blossom. Honestly, Death Blossom is pretty bad, man. Death Blossom. Earth Shatter, Death Blossom, Rampage, Gravitic Flux. I mean, we got some really nice ultimates here. Transcendence. I don't know, mate. There's some good ones. There's some really good ones. That was a fun question. You've been talking a lot about dynamic hero pools. Do you have any recommendations for a DPS hit-scanish hero pool in this meta? Especially considering that I have been a Tracer Soldier Trooper for most of my DPS career in Overwatch 1. So anything with tracking intermission. I agree with IOStux. I think I mean, if you're really talking about hero pools right now, if you are 4.2, okay, as a Masters 1 player, I think, yeah, I think especially if you're looking to crack into GM, I think giving yourself, like, playing the meta a little bit would be good. So your Tracer Soldier 2 trick, okay, that's fine. But Soldier's effectiveness really drops off pretty hard. So I would probably, if we're talking about dynamic hero pools, Sojourn Tracer is good. Yeah, Primal Rage is good too. Yeah, Sojourn Tracer is really good. Maybe Ash Tracer. So anything with tracking in or anything that uses some skill set would be cool. I mean, yeah, it's not exactly fully tracking, but Sojourn does have a little bit of tracking involved. And obviously, like, tracking and flicking are definitely different aim styles, but aim will carry over. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you never ever flick with those heroes. So I would say I would agree with ISX. I don't think it's a major concern, but it depends on, like, what your goals are. If your goal is to hit GM, you probably don't need to adjust your hero pool. If your goal is to, like, stay and do well in GM, then yeah, you might need to consider it a little bit. ML7 talking about good German players. Is that ML talking about good German players who are going to qualify for German for World Cup? But who he's talking about, I can just find Hottie in the Wikipedia. Good German players. Yep. So there you go. Cookie, Fi, Hottie, Alex, Refid, Khan. That's a potential for top 5, right there. I mean, probably should be top 5. Alex is good. He's good in a lot of off-tank heroes. I coached him back in Shirkle. What do you think of the order of new players should learn Overwatch 2? Say Blizzard was playing an in-depth hero. I think playing, like, as a team and controlling, like, space, playing as a team and cover would be good ones to start with. And then thinking about how your cooldowns can help with that, and ebb and flow and ultimates can help with that would be helpful. This guy. I feel myself getting nervous and going up against streamers. People know they're good in scrims. Is that purely bad, or could somebody turn to advantage? Just look for it as an opportunity. You'll get over it. Eventually, I'll be like, oh, another streamer game, not that big of a deal. And eventually, it'll be like, oh, another streamer game, crap. Another one of these guys that's going to troll my lobby because I'm better than they are. Like, I remember my first streamer game. It was nerve-wracking, but you just get used to it. It just happens again and again and again. Don't worry about it. Just play the game. There's no hack. Just play the game. You'll get used to it. I promise you. It can be turned into an advantage. No, not really. Just play the game. Don't try and mind game it. It's not like, the thing is, it's like, I would have some advice for you if streamer games were like a one-time and done thing, like a big championship game, but it's not a championship game. Just play. You're gonna have so many streamer games. When building a 3 DPS hero pool, you mentioned adding a hero with mobility plus medium and a long range hero. Picking long range hero is obviously the map to pick, but when do you pick the mobile DPS? So a lot of the mobile DPS, it depends on the type of mobility necessary. So, like, if I'm playing a Genji, for example, I might like to play Genji on a map where there's a lot of vertical mobility, right? So a map like Paraíso, right? I just like saying that word. Right, so a lot of vertical mobility, even like a King's Row, first, second, and to an extent third, a lot of vertical mobility. So Genji is very strong, but do you notice that that map is not very wide, right? It's not very wide. Neither Paraíso or King's Row are very wide. So that might mean that those maps are a little bit worse for a hero like Tracer. Tracer would be better with a map that's very wide, that offers a lot of flanks. Often maps that are good with snipers are often good with Tracer, because wideness usually means long sightlines as well. Now, Tracer doesn't like long sightlines, so that's one bad thing. But a Busan, for example, has a lot of space that a very fast and solo-dependent hero can do a lot of work on, whereas a Genji would struggle more with that. So it's a type of mobility, whether it's horizontal or vertical, depends on the map. What do you think when Zen gets butt picked so much in Asia? It's just preferences. Like, meta always revolves around hero strengths, but meta also always revolves around preferences. Asia metas are all like Asia ranked is usually more team oriented. There's more communication. It's like the culture they live in, where Western culture is a little bit more selfish and self-centered. For better and worse, there's downsides and upsides to that. And also, Asia is obsessed with Winston and has been obsessed with dive as a whole. So Asia in general picks more high skill heroes, whereas Western has always been more of the brawlier, not easier heroes, but less mobile heroes. So Asia has an obsession with Zenyatta, with Ana. You're going to find your high-end Tracer players, your high-end Winston players, things like that. They really like dive in Asia. Yeah. So is Zenyatta a perfect dive hero? No. But also, you're not going to get away with playing just Orisa Hog, brain dead, turn that off there. Iron Balls. If you want to be an effective flanker DPS player, then I think learning a little bit of Tracer and Genji can be helpful. Yes, I don't think it's a must-have because we haven't had Genji as a must-pick very often ever. But having a Tracer in the pocket is definitely a good one. And Tracer is like, Tracer's not bad on more narrow maps. Tracer's still a pretty strong hero. She's just a little bit stronger in those situations. My take pool is Sig, Ram, Ryan, Orisa. Who, if any, should I drop? I don't know. Which ones do you not enjoy as much? Those all, like these heroes all fill similar niches of being shorter range heroes. And then this hero and this hero and even this hero all have decent range. So like you're picking like Brawl, you don't have any mobility. Also, I would pick up D.Va Winston, but I don't like either. Well, then don't pick them up. Currently Plat 3 and Tank. I promise you the reason you're Plat 3 and Tank is not your hero pool. If anything, it's the number of heroes that you're playing, not the fact that you're not playing D.Va or Winston. So I know that's probably not what you want to hear. Well, actually, you know what? It should be what you want to hear because it's an easy solution. You don't have to play the heroes that you don't want to play. You want to get to Diamond Low Masters on Tank? You can get to Diamond Low Masters on Tank very easily playing this hero pool. You might need to learn a couple of different playstyles, but to do that, you're not going to be able to learn those playstyles playing 4 different heroes. So I'd narrow this to 2 or 3 depending on how many hours you play every day. Oh, yeah, true. I'm always like, hey guys, can you see? You just like see like this brown bush. Here we have the streamer in his natural habitat. If you look carefully, you see the bird. Yeah. Hi guys. Do you think a projectile hero? Do you think that projectile heroes are always worse than Hitscan? Not necessarily. I just think that what we have, unfortunately, is we have like, if you think about Hitscan has range, Hitscan has mobility. The best mobile hero in the game is Tracer, who's Hitscan. The best ranged hero in the game is Sojourn, who's Hitscan for the most part, or Ashe, or Widow, you know, or even the heroes like Cass, who aren't good, but they're not trash tier. Like, whereas Projectile, Genji was strong, got nerfed really hard. Best Hanzo has not been meta in a long time. So is there something to be said between Projectile and Hitscan? Fundamental imbalance? Maybe. But I also just think that it just so happens that the best Hitscan heroes in the game, or the best heroes in the game just happen to be Hitscan. I don't think that Hitscan is objectively strong. I mean, look at a hero like Soldier and Cassie. They're not exactly dominant, you know. Their Hitscan isn't doing them favors. It just so happens that Widowmaker is still strong, Sojourn is still strong, Ashe is still strong, Tracer is still strong. Yeah. And if you look at the number of projectile heroes that aren't very good, yeah. I think one thing to be said is that a lot of the projectile heroes are spam heroes with simpler kits that have not aged as well. Like if you look back at Overwatch 1's release, look at the number of projectile heroes. Most of the DPS cast, if I remember correctly, were projectile heroes. There's a majority. And a lot of those heroes have not aged as well, as the spam archetype is just outdated, and it really is not aged well. So, but that doesn't excuse heroes like Genji and Hanzo, who I think have aged kind of like Hanzo, I don't know, but Genji's aged well. He just got nerfed really hard. And Echo too. Echo is still pretty strong, right? She's a new hero. Okay. In terms of personal growth, should I eat a D rank to get a master's level Zen, or play meta to break pot? I mean, depends on what you want. Do you really want to hit low masters? Has that been your goal for years? But I would say this is almost always going to be the play, especially if you're playing for the long term and playing for what's fun. When building a DPS hero pool, is Sojourn the same range category as Widow Ashe? No. This was a good question, but no. I think Sojourn can come close to that range category, but no. And keep in mind, when we're talking about building a hero pool here, you don't have to have short range, long range, mobile. That's an okay guideline, but what's more important than filling all those categories is finding heroes that you enjoy playing. And oftentimes, I actually only recommend people to only have 2 heroes in the hero pool, which obviously you can't do short range, long range, mobile with only 2 heroes, usually. So, I mean, but for this specific question, the answer is no. The answer is no. We'll give Big Hoss Real a second to type up his question, and we'll probably call it. Also, for those of you who've been following my Sekiro playthrough, I've been quietly struggling through Sekiro when I find the time, and it has been enjoyable. I beat Allfather this morning, so we're getting there. He's one of the hardest bosses yet. Took me a little while, but I got him. Deserted Island. You could bring 1 person and 5 things. Who and what? My wife, and I'm not just saying that to be corny. She's legit my best friend. Has been for a long time. She's 5 things. Okay. Oh man, you're killing me with this question. Where do we follow the Sekiro playthrough? I don't stream it. I would be a boring Sekiro streamer. I don't rage at all. Like I haven't raged a single time. I got mad one time when the stupid troll thing pixel skipped on me. But besides that was it. Didn't make best friends tries. Yeah, I get ruled peasant. Sorry, I'm a simp for women. Crap, man. If you'd get hit with milk battery balls. I'd ask you for advice, Farashi. That's what I would do. I don't know. 5 things here. I don't know. Probably a book series of some sort, like a long book series that would have a rereadable category. I'd bring my wife, probably a Bible, probably some sort of like a pull-up bar or a barbell, something like that with weights on it. I can't think of anything else though. Guitar but what if the strings broke? You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming that we're like not freaking out. Like a guitar would be fun. Like that provides a lot of entertainment. I have a full head of hair. Didn't you see the video? No, but I'm choosing to ignore it to make a point. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know. Why are the questions happening faster? The hardest role. Don't really know, actually. I would say hardest deep. It's more about the hardest hero within the role, I think. But I don't know. I would have to like go back and like, because the problem is like once you get to a certain rank, like the hardest role doesn't really matter. I think it would be a good question about what is the hardest role to pick up as a brand new hero, a brand new player, and I think that there's a pretty good argument for that. But I don't know. I don't even know what that would be, to be honest. Am I gonna play Elden Ring after Sekiro? I mean, it's easier than Sekiro. So here's the funny thing. You mentioned Elden Ring. Toupee. Oh my gosh, you're insufferable, Varashi. Coincidentally, my brother-in-law for my Christmas bought me both games. So it's kind of strange that you brought up Elden Ring. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, but yeah, I've not played Elden Ring, so maybe we'll play Elden Ring. I don't know. Yeah, that's true, Varashi. Maybe DPS is the best one to play if you have a background in other games. And I guess it just depends, you know?